put it in Discord really quick. Hello? Okay, just making sure I could hear myself. The last time we didn't hear myself for like 5 minutes in the beginning. Talking to myself. Let me just share this in the Discord really quick.
Ryan Fury. Get ready for the next battle.
Okay. So, which one do you want to talk about first, babe? Do you want to talk about Lacey Peterson or George Smith?
Which was the one you were into earlier?
Well, I
I
was.
told you I don't want you to get into. Oh, the one you're talking about.
Oh, George Smith? Okay, so let me go to his. Okay, so George Smith, he's a missing person. He's still not, like, found. So there's not really a conclusion to it. Okay. It says George Allen Smith was an American man who disappeared overboard from a Royal Caribbean International cruise ship in July 2005 under suspicious circumstances. He went missing at the age of 26 off the coast of Turkey. So him and his wife that he had recently married, Jennifer Hagel, went on a trip to like a bunch of like islands, or I'm not really sure exactly where, but they went on a cruise and everything seemed to have been fine. They were taking pictures, videos together, and then one night they go out to like the casino that they had on the ship. They go out to the casino that they had on the ship, and it was known that George couldn't handle his alcohol very well, and so he got like heavily intoxicated. And while on this trip, they met two older people who were like friends of the girlfriends or the wife, which is Jennifer, and then they met 4 Russian men at the casino as well, and they started drinking with them. And so it says Smith mysteriously disappeared in the early hours of July 5th, 2005, and evidence suggested that foul play might have been involved. Bloodstains were found in his cabin as well as the side of the ship, and it appeared that it might have been tossed off the ship or fallen overboard and drowned. On July 29, 2005, FBI announced that they were investigating the disappearance. The investigation of the disappearance continued in 2012. Then the Royal Caribbean gave about $1.1 million for compensation. So that was just like an overview. And then let's go back to what happened. One second. Okay, so George Smith was a very well-off man. He made like a good amount of money. He was set to inherit like a big fortune from like his family, whatever. And his wife that he married, which was Jennifer, she was gonna be a teacher. She was also very well off. And so they decided for their honeymoon they were going to go on a cruise ship to the Royal Caribbean. And when they went, they were taking pictures, videos, everything seemed to have been going fine. And then On July 4th, they went to a casino one night and they stayed out until about 3:35, something like that, 3:40. The casino closed at a certain time. The wife had left earlier, so earlier than George, but they had both been drinking. Um, the next morning around 6 a.m., there was a little girl about 14, 15 years old. She was walking. She woke up really early one morning, wanted to go to the deck so that she could like take pictures of the sea and stuff, like the sunset. And then she noticed that there was a large human figure blood stain on the deck. And of course she got scared. She took pictures. She immediately called her parents to get in touch with like the security that was on board. And she knew that when she saw the blood stain that it was obviously someone had like died. Because of the amount of blood that was there. And so then the security comes, and then they're obviously going to look at the side of the ship that the blood stain was on. And it was pretty easy to narrow down who it might have been, because the night before they had received a call for like loud like sounds that were going on. And so they go to, which is George Smith and Jennifer Smith's cabin. And they notice that no one's in there. So they open the cabinet and then they start taking pictures to see if anything was like moved around or anything like that. But what the security officer said is like they didn't see any foul play or anything. So they ended up finding Jennifer at the spa. That because she had like set up an appointment for her and George to go get massages. So the security goes over to Jennifer and like asks her where George is, but she said that he didn't like that she said that she didn't know where he was, and that she didn't really think anything was wrong because the night before she really couldn't remember anything. And then when that happened, they tell her like what's been going on, how they found a large spot of blood on the deck that's shaped in the size of a body, and that they can't find her husband. So immediately she thinks that, you know, he's dead, he's missing, like, you know, she's all alone on this boat by herself. So then, what happened was, so she starts calling her family to get in touch with his family, and basically try to get them to tell her, like, or trying to tell them what happened, or what's going on. So they tried backtracking what happened the night before on July 4th, and they can't, like, she says she can't remember, but then there's a group of two people, the two older people that she had been talking to, said that she wasn't intoxicated, that she was perfectly fine, and she looked like she was, like, not even drunk. That goes against what she was saying. And then other people are saying that no, she was drunk. She left the club about 5 minutes early before it was even closing, the casino club area, and that they had actually had security walk with her to the elevator to put her in, and then they took her to the 9th floor, which was where her room was at. And then when they did that, they said that they didn't walk her directly to her room. They took her to, like, they just let her get off by herself, and then she went, like, the opposite way of where her room was at.
So was everybody as biased with the whole thing? Like, was she drunk or she wasn't?
Well, so the two older people were saying that she wasn't drunk, that they were having a conversation with her and she was perfectly fine. And then the security that actually escorted her out from the club and the casino, they said that she was so drunk that she was stumbling. But if she was stumbling, then why didn't anyone help her to her room? You know what I mean? Why did they let her walk by herself? So when she was walking by herself, she ended up going the wrong way of where the room was, which does add up, because then around 4:30 in the morning, a security officer came and found her on the opposite side of where her room was at, and they actually walked her back to her own room at 4:30, and at 4:30 in the morning on July 5th, no one else was in the room besides her, not George. But okay, so then let's take it back. So when she left the club at 3 something in the morning, she had been escorted by security, right? Well, George still stayed in the club with the I think there's 3 or 4 Russian people that they had met on the ship, and he stayed with them. Well, it said that, well, the Russian people said no, she had left with some guy, and that some guy that was part of the security, that they left together, and they went to a room together. Like if she was cheating on her husband. And then
Was she known for doing that?
no, she was very good. She was like a good person. And then they found out that the Russian people actually walked George to his room, right? They left the club at 3:50. So they walked him to his room, and then they said they put him to sleep in the bed at 4. So he should have been in bed at 4.
Did they have cameras?
No, there was no cameras on the ship. I know, right? Like, what the heck? So it said that, so remember, she left the club at 3:45 or something like 3:45. She left the club 5 minutes before it was even closing. But she didn't get to her room at 3:50 or anything, because she was, intoxicated, and she went the opposite way of where she was supposed to be going. The Russian people said they got him in the room by 4:01 to be exact, which does add up because the card was scanned, like, to get into the room. So when they did that, then they were like, they said that George was being like, oh, I need my wife, I need Jennifer, like, someone please go find Jennifer. So the 3 or 4 Russian people leave George in the room to go find Jennifer, but they go to like one spot to go look for her, and she's not there. And so then they come back and they're like, no, we can't find her.
They weren't even trying.
Yeah. So then they said that they went back to the room.
What's all these Russians doing all this shit?
I don't know. But then they said that the Russian people went back to the room, told George they couldn't find her, and that he needed to go to sleep. What doesn't make sense is, how is a guy that's crying for his wife, then he's perfectly fine when they say they can't find her? And like he just goes to sleep? It doesn't make sense. So, remember how I said that night on July 4th, how they had gotten a phone call saying that there was like disruption and stuff and it was really loud?
Yeah.
Well, so the people next door to George's suite, the 2 people next door, one was a officer off duty. He was on vacation, and then another one was just like normal people, and they both said that they heard like people having like drinks in the room, and they were like drinking and laughing and stuff, but then it turned into an argument, and like arguing, but not fighting, just arguing. And then they hear silence, and then they hear stuff like moving around in the room, like furniture, like scooting throughout the room, like they were looking for something. And then they hear silence again, and then they hear a giant like thud, like go.
Like someone fell?
Yeah,
Down?
they heard like a giant like fall, and then they just get silent again.
You win.
And so then they called security. After they heard the big thump, that's when they had called security saying like, oh, it's being like really loud over here, like, can you come check it out? So then they go check it out, right? But on their way they find Jennifer, which was highly intoxicated and was going the opposite.
Left earlier.
Yeah, who left earlier, yeah. And so they find her, and she's on the opposite side of the rooms that she was supposed to be in. So then they walk her back, and then that's when she gets to the room at 4:30 a.m. and no one's in the room. It's just her. Like, she just got there. But remember, they put him. They said that they put. No. Remember, this is what they said. Like, the story is a bunch of like he said, she said. They said, remember, there was a couple that said she wasn't drunk, she was perfectly fine, they were talking to her, having a conversation. The other people were the actual security guards who got her on the elevator, they helped her on the elevator, they helped her get to the 9th floor. They let her off the 9th floor, but they didn't follow her, but they did see the direction she was going, and she was going the opposite way of where her room was. Which makes sense when the security found her later, that she was in the opposite direction of her room, and she was highly intoxicated, but they took her to her room at 4:30 and no one else was in the room. And the Russians, they remember, they're saying that they took George to the room at 4:01. So he should have been in the room at 4:30, right? So that doesn't make sense. Then what happens after that? So then that's when they tell her, like, you know, oh wait, hold on. Am I missing something? Am I missing something? The Russians. Okay, so then later when they finally say that he's a missing person, they think that he like fell overboard or something, but it doesn't make sense how there's like a big blood stain and all of this. So they go to the Russians who were last seen with him the night before, and they're asking them like, where did you go after it? Like, you know, they're trying to see if it's foul play. Well, the Russians are like, oh, well, it's not, like, we went to the room, we had a couple drinks, we ordered room service, and they even said, like, oh, we ordered, like, like, I don't know what they ordered, but they're like, oh, we ordered noodles, like, they listed stuff that they ordered. So that was their alibi. They were all together at the same time, except for George. They left George. They just went back to their room. So then, later, they drop off Jennifer in this foreign country and say, like, we're sorry this happened to you. We don't know where your husband is. Like, goodbye. They just leave her there. No money, no, like, I'm sorry, no, like, explanation of where her husband's at. They just leave her in this foreign country that they stopped at. And so then she's like, there, she has nobody. She's by herself. So then, what happened is that her dad ends up wiring her money so she can get back to the States. And, later on, the same Russian people, those same Russian boys that were causing, like, that had been with George the night before, they had been causing, like, a lot of problems throughout the ship. They were, like, drinking, they were being, they were causing really loud scenes, they were bringing alcohol into places they weren't supposed to be bringing alcohol in. And then one night, this one girl that they come across, they all end up hanging out with her, and she was highly intoxicated. And she wakes up one morning in one of the Russian dude's beds, and she's like, they raped me. Like, I know they raped me. Like, I was intoxicated. Like, I couldn't have said yes to anything. I know they raped me. Like, they raped me, right? So then this happened. Well, then it comes out that they actually filmed them doing it to her. Like, they filmed themselves raping her. Like, I guess they were, like, vlogging their trip.
I'm telling you, these Russian people just be filming everything.
So, like,
it's crazy to me.
So they had been filming everything that they were doing, right? Well, since it was on film that they were doing this to her, the security people of the ship, they took the camera away from them, like all the security footage, all of the footage that they had on there, like they took it from them. Well, then I guess they had filmed them previously, a couple days prior to raping the girl. They had filmed like a lunch that they had been having with like each other. I don't know. And they actually talk about George. They were making fun of it. Like, they were like saying like, oh yeah, like, I can't believe he did that and stuff like that. And then one of the guys says to the other guy, saying like, yeah, you know, I'm a gangster, you know I'm gonna do that. And it's like, why would you say that if you didn't have anything to do with it? You know what I mean? And then they said that, oh yeah, George parachuted last night. And it was like, so if you knew something happened, what,
why
you know?
didn't you mention it
Yeah,
before?
so that was really suspicious. That came out. And so then basically, let me see here, because I didn't I watched it, but I didn't get the whole thing. Hold on 1 second. So basically they had got this like, what was it called? They had got the camera footage and they realized that he had been saying that. So they go back and they're like, hold up. So they keep like, interviewing them, asking them like, do you know anything about George? Do you know anything about George? Do you know anything about what happened? They're still saying like, no, they were in the room, they ordered room service. So, you know, they had to wait.
New challenger.
And then, hold on 1 second.
Get ready for the next battle.
Well, so basically, no one really was like convicted. Like the four boys were in jail because of the whole rape allegation, or not allegation because it really happened. They filmed themselves doing it, but I think later it came out that they were like arrested for stuff like foul play. Excuse me. They were arrested for foul play.
But they didn't call with the other thing.
Yeah, no. So that's basically it. They're, you know what I mean? They got Jennifer got money back. The family. Oh, and then in 2000, so this happened in 2005. Jennifer got remarried in 2009 to some other guy. So I mean, it's all very weird. Like the story's very weird.
What if she hired them or something?
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. It's really weird. There's a lot of like speculation of things that happen. I mean, I still needed to look into it more. I didn't finish my research. But I mean, the whole story is very like he said, she said, and then it's very like, it's a little shady. Why did she get married so soon after? It was really weird. And then that the family, like George's family, didn't really even like Jennifer after she got back because
So then what happened? How she left him?
yeah, it's like, why would you leave your new husband? Like, I get it, you're intoxicated, but why would you leave him? And it was very, very weird. I don't know. What I was gonna do though, was I was gonna look to see. A lot of people are saying like, why aren't there more cameras on a cruise ship?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Like, why isn't there any cameras?
Yeah. I don't know, but a lot of people were saying that because George was highly intoxicated, because Jennifer was highly intoxicated, and then the girl who was found in their bed was highly intoxicated, that they feel like they were all drugged, like the boys drugged them.
Which I can see.
Yeah,
I can see why.
yeah. It was just all very, very weird. And the Turkish authorities, they also didn't do enough. Like you know what I mean? They just left her on an island in some foreign place and was just like, deuces, like, find your own way back. Like, sorry, we can't find your husband. Like, that was just very weird too. I don't know. Hold on, I'm trying to see of how this all pretty much ended. I mean, it ended in 2009 or 2006. Honestly, no one got arrested. No one, got in trouble. Really, I don't know. I don't know. I'm like trying to really look at it. They never found him. He was presumed dead. Yeah. It doesn't say that the boys got like in trouble. Josh, I'm gonna look up so the main Russian guy name was Josh. What the heck took me to some site? The main guy was Josh. Oh my god.
To be a porn.
No, I didn't think of porn. Ashkin. Yeah, no, it doesn't really, like, for some reason when you look up the case, it doesn't really tell you anything.
Get ready for the next battle.
Whew. Let's see here. Renewing the focus group, disappeared in 2005.
Round one.
So the Josh person, he failed a polygraph test when the FBI questioned him. And then Jones, or it says when questioned by Jones about Smith, Atkins did not answer. Instead, he put up like the Fifth Amendment, like, "Oh, I don't gotta answer." So clearly, if you're not answering a polygraph test when they're asking you what happened to this boy and stuff, you did something. You know what I mean?
You're not being very truthful.
Yeah.
You're being very casual.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, it really doesn't say what happened. Yeah, no one was arrested. No one was arrested. Nothing happened. Like, it's basically like unsolved because they'll never find his body. I mean, if they left him somewhere in the ocean, he's gone. They'll never find him. And you know what I mean? I don't know. It's a sucky case. That was a sucky ass case. I don't know.
It's like they didn't even put the time to do it.
Yeah, they didn't. Like, the Turkish people were saying, like, Turkish authorities, like, they suck. I don't know. I'll never go to Turkey, so I really don't
All
know.
because of that.
Well, I think that the Turkey police have, like, unless they upgrade their system of, like, investigating, I don't want to go on a cruise in the middle of somewhere that doesn't have good investigation. Because what if I go missing? That's weird. But yeah, that case wasn't that great. The case was just like, because it leaves you wondering, like, not even leaves you wondering. It's more like, we know who did it, but no one got charged. And then the next case I want to move on to, which probably my last case of the day because I'm actually really tired, is Lacey Peterson. This is actually a really big case that took like a lot of time. And it's actually a really interesting case, and it's actually like when you see the outcome of it, it's like, whoa, what? So Lacey Peterson went missing December 24th, 2002. She was an American woman who was the subject of highly publicized murder case after she disappeared while being 8 months pregnant with her first child. It's crazy. Your face is like, what the fuck? So Lacey Peterson, her real name was Lacey Rocha, but she got married to her husband, which was Scott Peterson, and so she took on his last name. Basically her life was, she liked gardening, she liked everything with plants, she's pretty cool. She had a big family. She was a cheerleader. She went to college for horticulture, which is working with plants.
Round one.
Yeah, I mean, then she met Scott. They began dating. Their first date was remember this. Their first date was deep sea fishing. They went on a deep sea fishing trip. And Lacey got seasick. Okay? As Lacey's relationship grew more serious with Scott, he put aside his dreams of professional golf in order to focus on a business path. The couple later dated for 2 years and eventually moved in together. When Scott finished his senior year, Lacey took a job in a nearby, Roindale. Prosecutors have stated around this time Scott engaged in at least 2 extramarital affairs. I can't talk. So basically he cheated on her. And then, they have not revealed the name or the details of each relationship, but
I can't fucking play
but it is stated that he did cheat on her. Then they later got married. Blah blah blah. Right. Okay. So this is where it gets crazy. On December 23rd, 2002 at 5:45 p.m., Lacey and Scott went to Amy's workplace. Saloon where Amy cut Scott's hair as she did each month. As they spoke, Amy said Scott offered to pick up a fruit basket that she had ordered for her grandfather as a Christmas gift the next day because he would be playing golf at a course nearby. Ow! Prosecutors say Scott also told other people he would be playing golf on the Christmas Eve. Her mother Sharon spoke with Lacey on the telephone around 8:30 p.m. that evening. Scott later told police that he last saw his wife about 9:30 a.m. on December 24th when he left to go fishing at the Berkeley Marina. He said Lacey was watching a cooking television show, preparing to mop the floor, bake cookies, and walk the dog at a nearby park. It said at the time of her disappearance, Lacey was 8.5 months pregnant. The next morning, Karen, the neighbor of Petersons, stated that around 10:30, she found the Petersons' dog, a golden retriever named Mackenzie, and returned him back to the Petersons' backyard. Another neighbor named Mike Chavetta said that he saw Mackenzie at 10:45 as he played catch with his own dog. So the dog got out around that time, and they had been seeing the dog. Okay. The Modestos Bee also reported an unnamed female neighbor who found the dog with a muddy leash wandering in the neighborhood. The neighbor put him back in the Petersons' yard, not observing anything was out of place. So when they found this dog the next day on the 24th at 10:30, that he still had a leash on. He was dirty and he was outside, and multiple neighbors had saw him, right? Scott said he returned home that afternoon to find it empty. Scott told Lacey's mother that he had found Mackenzie in their backyard, though she related in her book that she later denies this, and I guess it's some type of book that the mom wrote. When Lacey still had not returned home by 5:15, Peterson called his mother-in-law, and a half an hour later, Lacey's stepfather called the police. So they had called the police and everything, you know. After the police had arrived to the Petersons' phone, Lacey's keys, wallet, and sunglasses were found in her purse in the closet at the home on the evening of December 24th. The dining room table was meticulously set for a family dinner the following night. One detective found a phone book on the kitchen counter open to a page ad for a defense lawyer. Scott was reported to be completely calm. So remember this part where she's looking for a lawyer, a defense lawyer. Okay. What else? What was I? The police, the lead investigator of the case questioned Scott Peterson that evening. Although Scott initially said he had spent the day golfing, he later told the police that he had gone to fish. Like, what? Okay, so he's changing his story once. At 2:15, he left a message for Stacy saying, "Hey, beautiful, it's 2:15. Why would you say the time? You know what I mean? Like, okay. It says, "Hey, beautiful, it's 2:15. I'm leaving the place that he's at," or whatever. But why would you, like, who says that? Like, "Hey, it's 2:15. I'm just calling." Like, you know, like, we see the time you call. Like, trying to, like, be like, "Yeah, I was really there at 2:15. You know what I mean? Okay. Scott stated that he went fishing about 90 miles from the couple's Modesto home. The detectives immediately launched a search, but they were surprised by Scott Peterson's behavior. "I suspected Scott when I first met him. Didn't mean he did it, but I was a little bit thrown off by his calm, cool demeanor and lack of questioning. He wasn't, 'Will you call me back? Can I have one of your cards? What are you guys doing now?' So he was very like, just like, do what you gotta do. I'll stay here."
Yeah.
like if I went missing and I was 8 months pregnant, what would you do?
I'd be freaking out. 'Cause you have my kid.
That's fucking crazy. And so then it says, mm, uh, so then everyone went to go search for her. The search came to include helicopters equipped with searchlights, police mounted on horsebacks, bicycles, and car units, and water rescue units on rafts. A total of 30 officers were employed in the search, as well as Lacey's loved ones and volunteers who posted flyers to raise awareness of her disappearance. At a press conference, they said that the police did not believe that Lacey had decided to leave without contacting her family. That is completely out of character for her. So if she was gonna leave, she would have told her family, like, "Mom, I'm gonna leave. You know, I'll call you when I get where I'm going. Don't worry."
Yeah.
Okay. In the first 2 days, up to 900 people were involved in looking for Lacey before community officials or police directly participated in the search. Prior to the significant media coverage, eventually the story attracted nationwide media interest. A $25,000 reward was offered, later increased to $250,000, and finally to $500,000 for any information leading to Lacey's safe return. So, I mean, a lot of people were looking for her, you know. There was a high alert for her. And it says, on April 13, 2003, a couple walking their dog found a decomposing but well-preserved body of a late male fetus in a marshy area of the San Francisco Bay shore. Its umbilical cord was still attached, appearing to have been torn, not cut or clamped, as it normally practiced after birth. So later, on April 13, 2003, they found a decomposing body of a late male fetus. That sucks, bro. That's really sad.
Like the mom and the baby died.
Well, they don't find the mom. They just found the baby. They don't find the mom. And it says that it had, like, the baby had to be, it appeared to be cut out of her womb.
What?
Okay. So then it says, although a judge sealed the autopsy results, an anonymous Associated Press source revealed that 1.5 loops of nylon tape were found on the fetus's neck, and a significant cut on the fetus's body. 1 day later, a passerby found a body of a recently pregnant woman wearing a beige pants and maternity bra washed up on the eastern rocky shoreline of the bay, 1 mile away where the baby's body was found. What? Cool. Yeah, so they just found a woman. It's not confirmed that it's her yet, but they did find her about a day later. The corpse was decomposed to the point of being almost unrecognizable as a human body. Damn. The woman had been decapitated. Her limbs were missing, including most of her legs. Oh my god. So she was decapitated and her limbs were missing, including most of her legs. On April 18, 2003, the results of the DNA test verified that they were the bodies of Lacey and her unborn son, Connor. The autopsies of both bodies were performed by forensics pathologist Dr. Brian Peterson. No relationship to Scott Peterson. According to the autopsy, Connor's skin was not decomposed at all, though the right side of his body was mutilated and the placenta and umbilical cord were not found with the body. Lacey's cervix was intact. The exact date and cause of Lacey's death were never determined. She had suffered 2 cracked ribs. Though Dr. Peterson could not determine if this occurred before or after death, Lacey's upper torso had been emptied of internal organs except the uterus, which protected the fetus, explaining the lower level of decomposition it experienced. So what they're thinking is like that it like someone like okay, so you have to understand, like, he cut off her head, he cut off her limbs, and then he cut the baby out.
Why would you cut the baby out of more things?
It's fucking weird. Says Dr. Peterson determined that the fetus had been expelled from Lacey's decaying body. Though he testified he could not determine whether the fetus had been born alive or dead. There was no food in his stomach, which had been indicated a live birth had not been present. Oh, that's so sad.
So he just kind of ripped it out.
He like you have to think like this person that killed her had time to cut off her head, cut off her limbs, cut the baby out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they had time to do this. And then it said the Associated Press observed the doctor's testimony appeared contradictory at times. Though he stated no cause of death could be determined for Lacey and Connor, he also said it was the death that caused Connor's death. Well, she was still in the uterus. Well, he was still in the uterus. So, basically what's happened is she disappeared on December 24th. No one had seen her. The husband wasn't asking any questions. He wasn't worried at all. He's kind of just like, you know, do what you gotta do. I'll be here. There was rewards that were offered really high for her. One day they found the son, a baby that still had an umbilical cord attached, but very light decomposition. Then another day later they found the woman, but just kind of the torso. Not just the torso, but they could tell that she was pregnant, but it was just the torso. They have not found her legs yet. They did not find her head. So, you know, I don't know. Or maybe they did. Maybe they're just not making that clear. I don't know. It says it was later publicized that Scott had numerous extramarital affairs, one of which Lacey knew about. The most recent was with a massage therapist named Amber Frey, a single mother from nearby Fresno. The affair began after the woman met Sean Sibley on October 24, 2002 at the trade convention where he represented his company, Trade Corp. He told her he was single and looking. What? He joked that he should be put on Horny Bastard on his name tag to help him meet women. Though Shibley was attractive, she thought he would be a good match for Amber Frey, a friend of hers. Sibley gave Frey's contact information to Scott, and he called her November 19th and met her the next day. So he was cheating. It says he called her on November 9th and met her the next day. After a month-long whirlwind romance, she informed the police of their relationship shortly after discovering he was a person of interest in the Petersons' disappearance on the local news. So remember, when Lacey left the house, there was a phone book open to like a lawyer page, like looking for a lawyer, and then she just
from the beginning,
like it's all pointing to him. Yeah.
From the beginning, he was really like, oh, okay, well, let me get this shit ready.
Yeah.
Before they
it's like he had planned that shit. And it said, she agreed to put him on the phone while police recorded their conversation. She informed the police he told her on December 9th, 2 weeks before Peterson's disappearance, he was a widow, and it would be a first Christmas without his wife. So, on December 9th, he said to this girl that he was a widow. His wife goes missing December 24th, a day before Christmas.
You just rebound that after all that stuff.
No, but like look at the timeline. Like, he made it happen because he wanted to be this girl, even though this wife of his was pregnant with his kid. Why would he say such a thing if, you know what I mean? Weird. Okay. Scott was arrested on April 18, 2003 near a golf course. He claimed to be meeting his father and brother for a game of golf. His naturally brown dark hair had been dyed blonde. His Mercedes was stuffed with miscellaneous items, including miscellaneous items including $15,000 in cash, 12 Viagra tablets, survivor gear, and camping equipment, and several changes of clothes, 4 cell phones, 2 driver's licenses, his and his brother's, Scott father's lead. Okay, let's stop right there.
What?
So, this dude. So, hold on. I'm getting mad. So, this dude. First, he's having an affair. Started in November. Oh, excuse me. That was so bad. Ugh, that's so bad. I burped. I'm so sorry. Excuse me. Okay. That's how you know I'm getting mad. Cause I burped because I was mad.
That makes no sense.
Okay, I'm gonna eat a pancake. Okay, so on November 19th, he meets this girl. He gives her number, right? On November 20th, he meets this girl in person. And they're having an affair this whole time. On December 9th, 2 weeks before Lacey even goes missing, he tells this girl, oh, I'm a widow, and it's going to be my first Christmas without my wife. Right? Then his wife goes missing December 24th. Right? Then, the day they had found her body on, oh shit, I done my pancake. I don't remember the day I said. Okay, well on April 18th, 2003, they had confirmed that it was her body, right? And then on April 18th, 2003, they arrested Scott, which was the husband. And he was meeting at a golf course. He was meeting his brother and his father. But, so, he had naturally dark brown hair, right? This dude dyed his hair blonde. And then his car that he had at the time, he stuffed it with $15,000 in cash. 12 Viagra. Exactly. 12 Viagra tablets. Survivor gear. Camping equipment. Several changes of clothes. 4 cell phones. And 2 driver's license.
That's really...
Like, he was ready to dip. Like, he knew he fucked up. Like...
That's very suspicious of it.
Right? So, Scott's father, Lee Peterson, explained that Scott had used his builder's license the day before to get into San Diego's resident discount at the golf course. And that Scott had been living out of his car because the media. That was the excuse, right? And then it says, police and prosecutors, however, saw these items as indicated that Peterson had planned to flee to Mexico. Because in Mexico, if you're charged with something in the States, if you go to Mexico, you're not charged with it because they can't legally take you. And then, April 21st, 2003, Scott was, he was arraigned in court. He was charged with 2 felony counts of murder with premeditation and special circumstances. He pled not guilty. And then trial began June 1st, 2004. On November 12th, 2004, Scott Peterson was convicted of first-degree murder for his wife and second-degree murder for his son Connor's death.
Wait, it was his own son too?
Yeah. Judge Alfred A. sentenced Scott to death, calling the murder of Lacey cruel, uncaring, heartless, and callous. In March 2019, which was like last year, right? 737 prisoners on death row in California, including Peterson. The order postponed all executions for duration. Due to legal challenges, the state execution protocol. I had to, stop a little bit. Got it. There we go. Nom nom nom. So it doesn't say. I think he is in jail. Like, he's in jail, but I don't know if he's dead yet. I don't know if he died. It says the death of Lacey and Connor Peterson led to the passage of an unborn victims of violence act. Damn, that was so crazy. I'm gonna see if Scott Peterson's still alive. Yeah, he's still alive right now. He's on death row though. That's crazy, bro. That story was crazy. So he really killed his wife, but he killed her in such a way, like, he decapitated her, he cut off her limbs, and then cut their unborn baby out of the womb. And then said, fuck everything, I'm gonna just drown them. And he did. It's really fucking sad. That was really crazy. So sad. Okay. But that's gonna end my live stream. Because that was a little too much. Okay. Well, you have anything to say before we end it?
I'm just like, why the fuck would you even? I don't know. That trips me out.
Like, it's just ridiculous. That's very bad. But for, like, I get, like, and I don't get it. I don't get it at all. I'm just saying, like, to kill your wife is one thing, but to kill your own biological unborn son, that's, like, a completely different thing. Like, what did your son ever do to you? You didn't even meet him.
I know. You give him a chance.
You didn't give him a chance at life, and, like, he was, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I think it's because I have a daughter that it's like, whoa. Okay, well, I'm gonna end the stream here. Like, comment, subscribe. And then probably tomorrow, if not tomorrow, then maybe Friday, we'll do another, like, unsolved case or something. But yeah, this was basically it. Hope you enjoyed. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe. Let us know if you like it so that we can make more of these videos. If not, then, you know, let us also know. Okay, bye guys. It was fun talking to you about all these crazy things. Okay.